Hi there, welcome to another episode of Amputee Outdoors. I'm your host Glenn, and today we're going to talk about why and how to properly use hiking poles. So come on with me and we'll get started. Now if you live in an area like I do where there's a lot of mountains and hills, you know that hiking poles are really good for helping you get up those hills. But where they really come into a necessity is when you're going downhill. Gravity wants to keep you going downhill, and if the terrain is wet, slippery, gravelly, things like that, sometimes gravity kind of gets you carried away and you go down a lot faster than you want to. That's why hiking poles are such a great thing when going downhill. You're using them to control your descent, to manage your speed, and to maintain your stability, especially on terrain that's not the best. So one of the big reasons to carry hiking poles, especially if you've got a backpack, even a light one, is that extra weight tends to want to go downhill. If the trail is sloped, kind of like this one is, with sloped going down the hill, gravity is going to pull me a little bit further than I want to sometimes. Hiking poles gives me 2 extra points of contact with the ground, one of which is downhill and helping me manage that load that wants to go down the hill. It's giving me that stability as I go over the terrain that's trying to pull me down the slope. One of the other major reasons you want to have hiking poles when you go hiking is you want to give your ankles and your knees and your hips as much relief as you can get, especially on longer treks. Using the pole helps you carry some of that weight that's on your shoulders onto your arms and onto the pole, so it's not all going straight down through the hips, the knees, and the ankles. Poles distribute weight. Very important on longer treks, especially with a heavy pack. So these are the reasons I've gone through on this little trek about why I use hiking poles. There's also all these reasons as well. And using hiking poles, for me, transformed what would sometimes be a difficult and even dangerous hike into a much more enjoyable and much safer hike. So I recommend using hiking poles. So those are the reasons why you should use a hiking pole. Now let's talk about how best to use your hiking pole. I put this one down to its traveling compact size, and what you want to do when you're going hiking is set the hiking pole so that when you are standing level, it makes your arm at a 90-degree angle, or thereabouts. You want this angle, this height. Now, let me show you a pro tip. Now, when you're at home, take your hiking pole, get it to the correct height, and then take a marker, kind of like what I've done here, and mark your hiking pole where the correct height is. So when you get to the trail, all you've got to do is get that hiking pole set to that level, that height, and just tighten it down, and you are good to go. Now, when you come to bridges like this that have got the slats of wood going across, you want to bring your hiking poles up off the ground. One of the problems that you can have when hiking across a bridge like this is that the pole stick there can get stuck right there between the pieces of wood and bend and even snap off. That's the last thing you want. So when you're going across the bridge, lift your poles up so they're not getting stuck in between those slats. Even people that are careful, oh, I only hit just the wood, sometimes they miss and they end up going between the slats. So make sure that when you go across, lift them up, walk across the bridge. All right, let's talk about how to use the straps correctly. Now most people will grab their strap here and put their hand through there, grab like that, and think they're good. No, 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 no. This is not the way to use your strap. Now, one of the reasons that I don't recommend doing this with your strap and your hiking pole is that when you release the hiking pole, the strap keeps it in that place there. Now you may think, well, that's not really that much of a problem. It can be if you're having to reach for something, a rock or a branch, or get something out of your pocket. Your hiking pole is staying in the way. That's another reason, and it can actually cause injury. Now, the other reason is that if you take a fall, your hand comes down like this, because the hiking pole is staying in that position, your hand comes down like this and you can dislocate your thumb on impact. It's in the way and you can roll it over, twist your thumb and dislocate it. So not a good idea to have your hiking pole and strap set up like this. Let me show you the right way to do it. What you want to do is bring your hand up through the strap and then grab the strap and the handle like that. Okay. Now when you release the hiking pole, it drops away and your hand is now free to grab onto a rock or a branch or something out of your pocket. And of course, the other advantage, as you saw how to do it wrong, is if you take a fall, your hand will be now free and will be able to catch you without this being in the way and dislocating your thumb. So again, up through the strap and then around the pole. You want the strap just tightened up so it's a snug around there, but not too tight. The other advantage I found is that positioned like this, when I'm going uphill, this gives me a better leverage on the pole as I'm going up than if I'm like this, where it's just kind of dangling like that. It just doesn't give me as much help. Whereas like this, it's a lot more firm and solid and gives you better leverage on the pole. Something else to do with your hiking pole when you're going downhill, and this is a really great tip. You know how it's kind of rounded and soft and smooth there? There's a reason for that, okay? When you're going downhill, your grip switches from this to this, so that you're doing this with your hiking poles. And that's helping you slow down and maintain that control as you go down steep hills. If you're like this, you're kind of pulling your arm and your wrist in an unusual and uncomfortable angle. But like this, you're hitting down with the pole and controlling your descent a lot easier. That's why they're shaped like this, to fit in to your palm. Now, of course, one of the most important ways to use your hiking poles is the rhythm that you can get walking, especially on flat, even ground. When you're on more rough terrain, rocky terrain, roots and things like that, it's harder to do. So you're often putting your hiking poles down where it's most convenient to maintain stability. But on tracks like this, where it's long and flat and it's easy to do, you want to have a rhythm whereby as this foot comes out, this pole comes out, and then you switch, and this comes out, and this one comes out. And you keep doing that, and what you'll find, especially on longer flats treks, you'll get a rhythm going, and it will feel very comfortable, it will feel very natural, and you will maintain a good, even speed as you're trekking along. The poles will help you maintain that steady speed and that steady pace. Let me show you. Well, those are the reasons why you should use hiking poles and how you should use them. I hope this video has been useful to you, and if you have suggestions or ideas, or even videos of your own that you've done about hiking poles, put them down there in the comments section, and let's spread the information, the knowledge, and help other hikers have happy and safe hiking. And as always, my friends, see you out there.